one of our microphone stewards are going to make their way over. This is the front left. Sir, your name, media outlet, and question.
Fellas, John Fanta, Fox Sports. You guys have this vibe around you. And when people talk about you, they say, they are grown men. They're just tough as nails. Can you take us through what a San Diego State Aztecs practice looks like?
Let's get a thought first from Darian. We'll start on the outside, and then we'll come this way. Darian first, then Matt, then Keyshawn.
Yeah, our practices are intense. It started in the summer when we first got to campus, and everyone was really excited about the year, and we all were battling. We just didn't know about play time since our depth. We didn't know anything, so everyone was just out there battling. And that pretty much carried out throughout the entire season. Each practice, we know what's at stake. We have opportunities ahead of us, and each game wins. Each moment in the game, each time or moment in the game matters. So we're just very, very intent with what we do at practice, just because we know anything can lead to a loss. So we're all locked in at all times.
Yeah, I'd say for us, the competitive nature is really high, and for Coach Dutch, the biggest thing he relies on is trust, and that's gained in practice. So when somebody's having a bad game or their minutes start to go down, their intensity definitely picks up in practice due to wanting to get that spot back or wanting to get more touches or more chances. So everything starts in practice with defense, offense, our competitive nature, our intensity. So yeah.
Keyshawn.
Our practices pretty much just be dialed in. When you feel it when somebody gets like a little bit lost, and Coach Dutch do a great job of bringing everybody back. So we really just focus on the little things and try to stay dialed in for as long as possible, because one thing could save a whole game. And in practice, we get that one thing done that's going to lead to future success.
We're going to go to the center of the room. Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin Sweeting with Sports Illustrated for Matt and Darian. I know you guys both transferred, and I'm curious if there was a different level of physicality in your guys' practice you guys had to adjust to.
We'll go with Matt in the order it was asked, Matt and then Darian.
Yeah, coming here, I'm always been like a bigger guard, more aggressive, and that's something I was at my last school. I was kind of throwing my weight around and thinking I can just bully everybody. But coming here, there's a bunch of other grown men, and they put me in check instantly. Coming to play against guys like Keyshawn and Nate and even Darian, we get into little tie-ups here and there. So transferring here was an adjustment as far as the physicality and understanding that nothing's personal. We're just trying to get better at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that was a big part. Nothing was personal. We're all in it together, and we're all just going to go at each other. Our practices are definitely more physical, on the more physical side, but I think that's what it carries over to the game, and I feel like that's when we have the advantage on a lot of teams, and that's just, it all starts in practice.
Fellas, we'll take our next question in the center of the room, all the way back.
Aaron Torres, Fox Sports. So to kind of follow up on that, and any of you guys can answer, do you think when you get on the court with teams, they're surprised by your physicality? Even going back to the Alabama game last week, I don't think they knew what was quite coming, or at least that was the perception from the outside. Do you guys feel like for teams, especially outside the Mountain West, that don't know you, that they're surprised at how tough and how physical you can be? And maybe, Keyshawn, you could start.
I'll start off by saying, other coaches do their scouting report, so they know what we're about. But it's different, being a player on an opponent team. Like once you actually get into the game and it's actually a battle, it's pretty much different. So it's not just they don't know what we're about. They see it on film, but it's also a different feeling when it's live and actually a physical game in person.
Matt.
Yeah, we face a lot of adversity in practice, just battling with each other, trying to get each other better. So when it does come to the game time and, we're all teaming up and we get to go against the other team, it's we even go so much harder because it's an opponent that we don't necessarily have to hang out with afterwards or, be friends with. So, definitely when we go out and play other teams, I think they definitely feel that physicality, our maturity, and everything that comes with San Diego State.
Darian, anything to add there?
I don't think they're surprised much, but like I said, like Keyshawn said, once it's in the game, it's kind of hard to have that type of simulation in practice. So when we're in the games, I think it's not really surprised, but it's really not really much you can really do about it if you're not used to it.
Front of the room on the left side, Adam.
Hey guys, Adam Zagoria, New York Times. With the transfer portal, the FAU coach and some of their players said they were being recruited to transfer right now, while they're in the tournament, like other schools reached out to their families or them or whatever. I'm wondering, has that happened to any of you guys? And just what do you think about the portal in general with so many guys moving around and just total free agency for the players? Is there any downside to it, or is it all good for the players and for college basketball?
We'll ask Darian to take that first, then Matt, then Keyshawn.
Yeah, I think it's just the evolution of college basketball. I wouldn't talk too much about personally. I don't know any schools that have reached out, but yeah, I think it's just the evolution. The transfer portal is a big thing now. San Diego State, me and Matt came here out of the transfer portal, so it's a big thing in the game, and I think it's just pretty much the power of the players. It's giving that power back to the players, and players have somewhat of the power now.
Matt.
Yeah, with the one-time transfer rule, NIL, all these things coming about right now, it's a crazy time. This is my last week of college basketball, and I wish I had more time to play to experience everything going on. But just to be able to watch from the outside, I'm just really interested to see all the guys going and how basketball is going to change. Hopefully for the better. And yeah, that's just my take on it.
Keith.
The transfer portal, like the transfer culture, is like Darian said, it's evolution right now. I just pray that all the college athletes use it to their advantage, because it can be a curse to people that don't really know how to use it, coming up with NIL and other things like that. So I just hope we all could just use it to our advantage and put ourselves in better positions than we were before. And that's what I got to say pretty much.
If you have a question for the student athletes from San Diego State, please raise your hand. Let's go back to Aaron.
Yeah, guys, kind of unrelated to what I just asked, but, there's this kind of perception from the outside that this is kind of a quote-unquote boring Final Four. There's not like the traditional names. Like, you guys have been awesome as a program for a decade plus now. Do you find that narrative at all insulting when you hear people or see people say that, there aren't the big names in this Final Four like most years?
Keyshawn, do you want to take that first?
You understand what they're saying, so you could take the message personal, or you could not understand where they're coming from. Like, we understand where they're coming from, not blue bloods in here or anything like that, mid-majors in here. So it's not really, it's nothing really crazy about it. Like, we understand what they mean, and it's a chip on our shoulder. So we're used to it, though. Like, we're used to mid-majors, people not expecting mid-majors to be on the big stages like this. So I wouldn't really take it personal. I just take it with a grain of salt and just stay focused and get it done.
Matt, you bored?
Yeah, for somebody to make that statement, you can't be a true March Madness fan. You can't be a true basketball fan, because at the end of the day, everybody had a chance to be here, and those teams that they wanted here, they're not. So we got here fair and square. We beat some really good teams. So as the other teams are in the Final Four. So everybody had a chance to participate in the Final Four, and if they didn't make it, better luck next year. And it's just you got to keep moving forward.
Darian, we see you nodding down there.
Yeah, I think it's the evolution I was talking about earlier. It's just the game as a whole. Mid-majors have some good players, so I think we're just representing that. And a lot of teams here have a chance to make history for their schools and for their city that they come from. So it's just you kind of have to respect that. So it's a blessing for us to be here, and yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Front and center, John.
Matt, it just struck me when you said, this is my last week of college basketball. You couldn't have picked a better way to spend it.
Right.
What do you hope that America says about San Diego State University basketball after everything that we've witnessed?
Yeah. I hope people of America, everybody watching San Diego State, sees how resilient we are. We came through a lot of adversity. Having down points in the season, losing games we should have won, having some weird, tough wins that people didn't necessarily like. And you never knew what type of team we were going to be throughout the whole season. And we just stuck with the game plan. We stuck to each other. We stuck to the coach's plan. And, we just stayed resilient, and we didn't let the outside noise really bother us. And, we're not a bunch of 5-stars up here. We're just a bunch of hard-nosed dudes that just play basketball and like to, play for each other and win games. So I hope that's the Final Four teams that are here right now. It looks like that's the makeup of a lot of these teams. So, yeah, I hope they see that.
On the right side, Chris.
This is for Darion. What's the plan for your family, and are they all going to be able to be here to watch you play?
Yeah, definitely. They're making their way down. I'm excited for them to get here. This is a blessing to be here, and for them to come out and see me, have the opportunity to perform on this stage, and have an opportunity to win the national championship, and then being here, and just being one of the first, ever from where I come from, and for them to just witness that, it's a blessing. So I'm really excited for that.
We want to thank Keshad, Matt, and Darion for joining us here in the main interview room. They're going to go and do their radio interviews right now. We're going to get 3 more of their teammates up here on the dais. And the Aztec locker room is open for questions and answers with student-athletes who don't make their way down here to the main interview room. So thanks, fellas. Good luck. Enjoy those radio interviews. We'll see some of you back here tomorrow.
Thank you for having us.
Great job, guys. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you. For your questions and answers with student-athletes who do not get to join us here in the main interview room. We'll take questions now for Lamont, Nathan, and Adam. Congratulations, fellas, and welcome.
Thank you.
Let's open things up. This is the front left microphone for Matt, and that's John Fanta.
Hey guys, John Fanta from Fox Sports. I'm going to have you take us all the way back to memory lane here, because the whole identity of your program is physicality, toughness, defense. What was your first San Diego State practice like?
We're going to open things up. It looks like all of you guys want to go. So let's start with Adam, and then we'll go to Nathan, then we'll finish with Lamont.
That's a good question. I got here a while ago, and I can tell you my first practice was stressful, hard. Practicing for 2.5 hours, I think. Nowadays, we only practice for about 1.5 hours. But when I first got to the school, you could tell that the message was defense, physicality, and toughness, like you said. And from day one, from when we started the preseason, that's our identity. And so ever since I've been here, it's been that all along, and it gets you really prepared for the games.
Nathan.
Yeah, I would say I came with my year. We were 4 freshmen. So when we first came in, we were told you guys have practice at 12. So we had 30 minutes of defensive practice before the seniors joined us, which I felt like, are we going to do this the whole day? Like just defense? Lo and behold, we did all the 90 minutes on defense. And I was like, I've signed up to something different.
Lamont.
My first practice was different because I came in during the COVID years, after the COVID years. So we all had masks on. You could barely see each other's faces, hard to breathe in the mask. But from day one, it was competition. It was competition. Everybody was fighting hard, and it was a great atmosphere. And it was actually pretty fun to me, for sure.
Fellas, we're going to go to the center of the room for Kevin. This is the back left microphone.
Hey, Kevin Sweeney with Sports Illustrated. For Lamont and Adam, I was wondering if you guys could each summarize the impact on your defense that Nathan makes every game.
Lamont first, then Adam.
The impact Nathan has is extreme. He allows for us guards to pressure up a little bit more because if we get beat, we know that he's going to have our back. He's going to clean up at the glass, and also he can guard guards. We can switch, and he can stay in front. He can guard them, make them shoot tough shots, and he's just a huge impact for us.
Adam.
Yeah, he's been great. Back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year. 2 of these guys who are great at defense, but Nate has been our anchor down there, for as long as he's been here. Switch 5, he can guard guards, and so when he's able to do that, it doesn't make us help as much. We can get back out to shooters, and his presence at the rim, especially this tournament, has been unbelievable. It's won us games for sure. So having him down there, he trusts us, we trust him. He's a very coachable guy, and that's the best thing you can ask for out of a player.
The next question's up front to the left. Adam.
Hey, guys. Adam Zagoria, New York Times. With the transfer portal, some of the FAU players and coaches said that other schools had reached out to them now, during the tournament to try to get them to transfer or contacted their families or whatever. I'm wondering if that's happened to any of you guys and just your thoughts in general on the portal and all the player movement and player empowerment. Is that all good for college basketball, or is there any downside to it?
Adam first.
Yeah, the transfer portal has been a big thing the past few years. It's getting pretty crazy, but at the same time, it's good to go where you feel like you fit. There's a lot of good players out there. There's a lot of schools that want players, and at the end of the day, you make your own decision because it's your future, and whatever you want to do is best for your future. You make that decision.
Nathan, any thoughts?
I'm an international student, so this doesn't benefit me. It's like I'm going to where I feel like I see myself to build a relationship not only with the team but also with the environment and the community. That's why I chose San Diego State.
Lamont.
I feel like the transfer portal has its ups and downs. I feel like it's helped a lot of people. It's helped us. We got Matt, Darion, in the past, Yanni, Malachi Flynn. So it's just kind of a personal decision wherever you feel fits, like Adam says. No, I haven't been reached out to anyone.
I'm done, so.
Yeah, I'm done too.
All the way back in the center, Aaron. This is the back right microphone.
Aaron Torres, Fox Sports. This is a question for Nathan and Adam, and I apologize if you guys were asked this earlier. I just kind of got here. You guys were both part of that 2020 team that obviously never got a chance to compete for a national championship. What was that moment like, finding out the season obviously was not, you weren't going to be able to play a tournament, but then how fulfilling is it to kind of see the process through and be here representing San Diego State for the first time?
Adam first, then Nathan.
It was extremely devastating when we got that news. I remember I was at home watching ESPN when they had canceled the season. I had no words. I was speechless. It was just all the work that we put in for it to come to an end right there. To potentially, we really felt like we were going to win it all. Especially for the guys, KJ, Malachi, Yanni, all the seniors, the guys who were going to have big games in the tournament, to help their future. So it was devastating. But now to be here 3 years later, time flies. We're such a blessing. We're doing it for those guys. I'm constantly talking to them, telling them how much I love them, how much, I wish they could be here with us in this position. But they're happy. They're so happy for us, and we're just blessed to be here.
Nathan.
For me personally, that year I only played 13 games because I had some issue with my health, and the day it got canceled, I just got cleared to play basketball again. So I was on the way, and I texted Malachi that, hey, I've been cleared, and he responded by saying, haven't you heard it? And I was like, heard what? And he was like, it got canceled. So I was kind of like shocked, and I was in disbelief, and I was like, maybe they might let us play with our fans because March Madness is not just big things for us, but it's big thing for like the whole nation. And I feel bad for the seniors that didn't get the opportunity to play in this event. And I hope that our success is bringing them a sense of joy and happiness and some kind of fulfillment. So that's one thing I hope we are able to do for them.
Let's go back to the center of the room. John. It's the back left mic.
Lamont, you get this one off. You get this. I'm going to ask Nathan one and Adam you one. Nathan, you just said we did 90 minutes of defense. All this defense. What kept you from maybe saying, man, it's all defense. We're not scoring this. It's kind of not stinks, but this is really hard. Like what kind of kept you buying into all that? And my question for you is, you said about feeling that you could win the national championship a couple years ago. When did you feel that this year that you could do what you're doing right now?
Me.
Adam, you want that first?
Yeah, I felt that from the preseason. Back in July and August when this team came together, we knew that we were going to be really deep. We had guys, guards, bigs. We're so deep in every position. And this team could go as far as we could take ourselves and as connected as we can be. And throughout the year and the mid-year, we had a player-only meeting, which I'm sure people have read about, which really changed our season. It's something small, and at that time we were still first in the Mountain West in the standings, and we just came off a loss, and we felt like we had to have a player meeting and just get more connected. And then after that, sky was the limit for us, and winning regular season title, winning the conference title, we knew that we could be really, really dangerous coming into the tournament.
Nathan.
Yeah, for me, the reason why I said the 90, you kind of happy with something that you're good at, like as a person. So when I first got there, I picked some of the principles that the older guys were sharing, and I really excelled in defensively. like my early stages of college. So I kind of like fell in love with it. And as Coach Dutch always says, if you play defense, if you're a freshman and you play defense, you're going to be on the floor. And I wanted to be on the floor, so I made sure I excelled in that point.
Yeah.
We'd like to thank Lamont, Nathan, and Adam for joining us here in the main interview room. Thank you, fellas.
Thanks, guys.
We'll
Thank
see
you,
some of
guys.
you guys tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Head coach Brian Dutcher is coming up in just a moment. We're joined now by the head coach of the Aztecs, Brian Dutcher. Coach, we'll ask you to begin with an opening statement, then we'll take some questions.
Just spent some quality time with Dusty May, and it's no surprise that he has the team he has. They're well coached. They reflect their head coach, and we're excited for our opportunity to play them, and I'm expecting a really, really good game.
Coach, we're going to take some questions. We're going to start right in the center of the room. Let's get a microphone over to John Fanta.
Brian, John Fanta with Fox Sports. We just talked with your guys, and Nathan Mensah said our first San Diego State practice, his first as a freshman, he's like, look, we did 10 minutes of defense before the seniors even arrived, and then we did 90 minutes more of defense, and he was thinking, okay, when is this going to change? How would you reflect on how you kind of introduce your players to everything that this program is about and what that process entails to get them bought in?
It starts when you recruit them. It can't start when they show up on campus. When we recruit them, we tell them, we defend at a high level here. If you don't want to play defense, we're not the place for you. But if you do defend, we'll let you play with great freedom offensively. And that's kind of what we are. So when they get there and they're not having success, even though they're scoring, it's like, hey, we told you we're defense first. And you have to defend in order to earn an opportunity to play offense. And so it's a culture. It's something we've always preached, and I think we're pretty good at it.
Continuing with questions for Coach Dutcher. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We can go all the way to the back of the room. This is the back right microphone for Aaron.
Coach Dutch, Aaron Torres, Fox Sports. You know, I remember meeting with you your first year on the job, 2018 or so, and even then you were talking about let's get old, let's stay old. And I just, like, when did that become the San Diego State thing? And then obviously you guys have been able to take it to an extreme with the, with the COVID waiver. But has it been a convincing process to get all these guys to use this extra year? Do they want to be there? Because, like I said, it just feels like it's been your mantra for this program really from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, our culture is set by our 4-year guys and 5-year guys that come in as freshmen. And so we have guys that invest a lot, and they spend their 4 and 5 years in our program. But then we also take transfers. And so in the early transfer years, when they had to sit a year, that would automatically make you older because now they've sat a full year and they're getting to their 5th year. And so now that the culture's changed a little bit with the portal and instant eligibility, we've found a way to maintain our age and our experience level. And that's not to say if you're a really good freshman, you can't play for us. I mean, Nathan Mensah is a 4-year starter. Matt Mitchell, we had him, 4-year starter. So we get 4-year starters, but to be a freshman and play at our place, you have to be very good.
Coach, we're going to move to the right side of the room. Chris?
Hey, Coach. Chris Budden with ESPN. I'm wondering for 2020, when you guys built this incredible team and had a great run and then the tournament's canceled, how did you process that? You've been at this university for so long, you get them to this point, and maybe reassuring yourself it's going to happen again down the line. How did you process that mentally?
From the day we stepped on campus, Coach Fisher and I, all those years ago, we believed this was a possibility. And we sold it recruiting. We didn't just say it wasn't empty words just to get a kid to come. We believed if we did what we were supposed to do, we could make a Final Four, we could win a national championship. And so that's what the message is. We believed it could happen. That's our culture. And some people might say it was a fantasy, but obviously we're sitting here today.
On the right side to the right of the aisle.
Matt Musil with KHOU 11 CBS here in Houston. Brian, Jaden Ledee shows up in Houston, a kid out of the Kincaid School. A lot have been made about University of Texas maybe being here, maybe University of Houston being here, but he's here. Tell me about Jaden, and he took a circuitous route to get to San Diego State and get to the Final Four, but give me some insight on Jaden.
before the season started, anybody asked me how you're going to be this year, and I said we're going to be really good. And I said that because of Jaden Ledee. I had watched him. He wanted to sit a year. He wanted a sit-out year. And I watched him in practice every day, how dominant he was. And I just felt he was the missing piece to us being really, really good. Now, we had experienced players coming back, but Jaden at the start, I always said, and I said this to Jaden, he sat a year, and so he's so anxious, and sometimes the more you want something, you squeeze it so hard it slips through your fingers. Now he's started to settle in. He's starting to get comfortable. And I will say this, Jaden has another level to go. Of all our guys, Jaden has another level to go. So hopefully that level happens here this next 2 days. But he is a magnificent player that knows how to play, and he's only scratching what he's able to do on the basketball court right now.
Coach, we're going to move to the left side of the room. Billy?
Billy Witz with the New York Times. Brian, the NCAA said that they're going to tighten up the rules regarding transferring and not give out waivers for the second transfer so readily. How are you guys, I know you're occupied with these games here, but just how are you approaching that? And, I mean, when you're looking at guys that it would be a second transfer, what are those conversations like?
The only second-year transfers we're looking at are the ones that graduate and are eligible next year, you know? And I was on the phone, I'm getting ready for the game, but I made a recruiting call on the way over here from the bus because while we're sitting here getting ready for the greatest event in the world, there are coaches doing home visits and recruiting for next year's team. So as focused I am now, I'm also got one eye on the future. If you don't do that, you shouldn't be coaching.
Billy, can you pass the mic to John in the middle? All right, we're going to bring a mic to John. That's the back left mic. John?
Brian, over the last 6 years, this program has gone 107 wins to just 22 losses. Like you've been so consistently strong, and you've talked about why that is. Can you reflect on what the process is to all of us, and maybe to the national people that cover the sport of what it means when you're winning a lot of games, but now you're winning a lot of games and you're doing it in college basketball's biggest stage and you're standing in a Final Four?
Yeah, I mean, we've had good teams, but it's hard to win in March. We all know that. I mean, if we were to say all the best teams with the best season should be here, they're not here right now. The teams that are playing the best are here. And so even though we lost a first-round game to Houston with Calvin Sampson, my first NCAA tournament game, we had a good team, one-possession game. We lost last year to Creighton in overtime. We had a good team, but it's hard to win in March. So sometimes matchups, playing your best basketball. So I don't want to lose sight that this team is more special than the others. This team has won games in March, but these other teams we've had are really good too. It's just hard to win games in March.
Follow-up question for John.
Just to follow, like, you didn't wake up and drink something different for breakfast or change your lifestyle for that to happen, right? I mean, it's just a matter of continuing to be in the tournament.
Yeah, well, I think the one thing anybody who's followed Aztec basketball knows this, and no matter what kind of team we've had and where we finish, we get better as the year goes on. And that's just our culture. It's if you think you're good enough now and you can't get any better, don't get off the bus. We have another level to go. And even today, the message was, if you don't think we can get better at practice today, then don't practice. We can get better every time we step on the floor. And if you deliver that message and they believe in it, they'll get better as the season goes on. So as good as we play or as bad as we play, we're going to get better as the season goes on, and that's part of our culture. And you don't do it, you know, I learned from Coach Fisher a long time ago. Everyone asks, well, you were really patient as an assistant coach waiting for your opportunity. It's because I always felt like I was contributing. If you get good people, you let them work, you delegate. So as much as Coach Fisher was winning because they were his teams, I felt like they're not winning unless I'm doing what I do. And my assistant coaches the same way. Dave Velasquez, Chris Hacker, J.D. Lester, J.D. Pollock, Sam Scholl. They all feel like they're contributing to the success. They all feel like I'm the reason we're winning. I want them to feel that way. And so you don't win unless you have good coaches. You don't win unless you have good players that believe they can get better. So people talk about culture. They're in their third year into a head coach at a program. Culture is 24 years in one place. And that's where I've been. That's culture.
Coach, we're going to move up front to the left. Adam?
Coach Adam Zagoria, New York Times. You talked about getting old, staying old. I think this is the fourth Final Four with no McDonald's All-Americans. I don't think there's really any one-and-dones here, I guess, unless Donovan Clingan from UConn goes. What does that say about the state of college basketball, and have we moved past a point when one-and-dones and McDonald's All-Americans can kind of shine on this stage, or is it just a kind of year-to-year thing, you think?
I think the McDonald's All-Americans are usually only in college 1 year anyway. So you're only talking about X number of guys every year because most of them are gone after 1 year. And then those coaches that coach them do an incredible job if they get to this stage, because you're basically taking a freshman and knowing it's going to be hard early to try to get them integrated. Anybody, any freshman. McDonald's All-American, not a McDonald's All-American. It's hard to get a freshman ready. And so those that get those freshmen ready for this stage by the end of the year do an incredible job coaching. I think if you were to ask them, they'd all like to have 4 and 5 year guys in their program. But the reality is, if you can get great talent, you take it. But then it's hard to win with them because it takes a while for them to make the adjustment to the college game. It's just the fact of what we're doing.
Any further questions for Coach Dutcher? If you have a question, raise your hand. With no more questions, we want to thank Coach Dutcher for joining us here in the main interview room. Coach, we'll see you again tomorrow.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Coach.